Oh, Daphne, we definitely have you signed in. And where is that husband of yours? Is he not going to come?
I'm not here.
Here he is. You appear in that screen, John Rutland, because we want to count your head.
Come on.
What do you want, Vinny?
You can go away if you like.
Hi, Vinny.
Morning.
Yeah, I got the book, 40 Rules.
Just having my breakfast.
Daphne and John Rutland, please.
Vinny, it's Graham and Joe. Joe's with me as well, Vinny.
Graham and Joe, surname?
Kane.
Kane. Maybe Brendan or Eric could do that one.
There's a thing to rename it. I don't know where it is. Well, it hasn't got you, it's got me.
It'll do. Doesn't matter.
You don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Vinny, Paul's having a bit of difficulty with his computer. It's reconfigured himself. He's trying to get sorted.
Oh dear. You could come and join you, Karen, if he wants.
Well, no, I'm down in the kitchen on the little one, but he should get it sorted quite quickly. But it's just we'd had to deal with something else just beforehand.
With computers,
I'll get him done.
If you don't use them for a little while, they kind of go to sleep. It happened to me once in a meeting, and then it took an hour to wake it up again.
No, he was using it. He's been using it very, very frequently, so I don't know what the problem is. But anyway, he's away to sort it.
Eric?
No.
Yeah. Graham and Joe Kane, is it?
What page are they on?
I'll do that, Eric.
Brendan is going to do it.
Oh, I think I see you now.
Okay. Winifred.
Yes.
Hello, Winifred. Are you Winifred Gribben?
Yes, that's right.
Maybe somebody could make Winifred into Winifred Gribben, if you have a name. And there's Paul. Hello, Paul. I'm glad you got your computer to wake it up.
Yeah.
Just leave it under you. It isn't very studio. We're only listening.
Hello, Michael. McDermott.
Hello.
Is Patsy coming along?
He's on her way.
That's good. So you'll be a 2.
Morning, everybody. This is Clina.
Hi, Clina. You're very welcome.
Gremlins in the system.
If we're getting a lot of noise from someone, it's best if you mute yourself. Later on in the meeting, we'll have to mute everyone. Because of all the background noise.
For now.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Shirley. Thank you for making it.
Yeah,
Shirley.
Just back.
everybody.
Did you get back from your medical appointment?
Yes, I went early and they took me early, so I got back. I'm just in the door.
We'll get rid of it.
Oh, there's Barbara. Hi, Barbara. You're called Charles. We might change your name to Barbara Foster. Eric, do you see Barbara?
That's you.
Yeah, but my hands weren't there. They were down here. That's what I'm saying. Do I need to put those on?
Yeah, but you probably won't be able to hear any.
We now have 4 pages. So I was aiming for 3 pages. And then I thought we'll be all right if we have 3 pages. That's a very good attendance.
That is
So
good.
we now have 4 pages.
I think we're probably over 100 people by now.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Did you ask me to change Charles Foster to Barbara Foster?
To Barbara Foster, please. But I think Charles is here in his own right as well.
No.
Brendan's changing me, I think. Yeah, he's done it.
I think we're over 100, yeah.
Oh, that's very good, because we were a little bit worried about our quorum, but I think we're going to be okay.
Yes.
Wouldn't like to have to all go away and come back another day.
Do it all again? No, I don't think so.
Please. Yeah.
Oh, certainly not.
They're still arriving.
Vinny, am I signed in? Yvonne Hamilton.
Yes, Yvonne.
Yvonne Hamilton is definitely here.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
We're here.
We couldn't be without you, Yvonne.
Don't know about that.
Not at the bridge table, anyway.
I can't, Vinny, I can't sign in for Lawrence, my husband. He can't make it, but he
Don't
is.
see me.
He's the one that's saying, like, don't forget to sign in. You know, so he doesn't get any no brownie points.
Are we to add Lawrence then? Is he there in the background, or Edna?
No, he's actually no. He's
You see me, Vinny?
Has to be no.
Yes, George, we see you.
Vinny?
George Butler, we
Yes.
see you.
Hi, Judith.
I see you, George Butler. You're down in my bottom left.
Okay.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
I hope Rosemary is here as well.
Percy, no, Percy.
Good morning. Rosemary Hopkins is here.
Yes, I can see Rosemary Hopkins.
This is Jim Simpson. Vinny, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Jim. How are you? How's the book getting on?
The book is on target. Yes, it is. It should definitely be published at Halloween. So I'm looking forward to
well,
it.
we'll have a celebration for that.
Absolutely. Thanks for
I
your
hope. Right, Brendan.
Yes.
Where are you, Brendan? Oh, Barbara has a hand up, I think. Barbara.
Well, no, I don't.
Say something.
No, I'm holding these old headphones onto my ears. we couldn't get the laptop to operate this morning, so I've had to come onto this. So.
Well, you're looking very professional there, Barbara.
Yes. Not really.
Okay. Brendan, shall we make a start?
I think we should, yes.
I think we should. We've given 3 minutes grace. So 3 minutes is a very good period of time. So I wonder, Brendan, if you wouldn't mind muting everyone. Isn't it a wonderful feature of Zoom? I wish I'd had that when I was a teacher.
Keep everybody quiet.
Mute all.
I will mute all, and Vinny, whenever I have done that, you will have to unmute yourself.
All right. Okay. Okay.
There we go.
Right. Well, you're all very welcome this morning. We're delighted to see such a good turnout. It's a very unusual AGM at the end of a very unusual almost 2 years now, because we had no AGM last year, being in the midst of a lockdown and not at all sure what we were doing or where we were going. But we have our act together, and here we are gathered for our annual AGM. Now, because it is on Zoom, I think I'm going to hand over to Brendan to just mention some of the Zoom things that you need to know this morning. It's not too much. And most of the people here have been using Zoom, or you came along to our seminar on Tuesday. So Brendan, what do we need to remind people about?
Okay, a few things. The first you've probably already come across is your names. Would you ensure that your full name is listed on the screen? Because of voting for committee members later in the meeting, we need to be able to identify you. Now, Eric and Nigel, our co-hosts, will help you change your screen name if you're unable to. The second thing is captions. We've enabled captions for those hard of hearing. They're reasonably accurate in dealing with our Ulster accents, though undoubtedly you'll see some howlers. You can move the captions to any area of the screen, as well as adjust their size. Chat. For this AGM, we would prefer it if you would use chat only to ask questions. If you have any questions during the AGM, please use that chat feature of Zoom to send them to one of the nominated hosts, who in this case are Eric and Nigel. They will be monitoring chat during the AGM, and they can relay any questions to Vinny, the chair. Muting, well, as you know already, I've muted you. During the main part of the meeting, everybody will, except the chair and co-hosts, will be muted. This is necessary, I'm afraid, to prevent disruption from dogs barking, phones ringing, etc. You will be invited to unmute at various points of the meeting when comments are sought from the floor. And you can also use the hand symbol in reactions to get attention. And finally, YouTube. Now, we're streaming this meeting live on YouTube to facilitate members who are unable to use Zoom. This will result in a recording of the meeting being stored on YouTube. Now, we're going to delete that recording permanently from YouTube after 2 weeks. But in the meantime, if you don't want to appear on the recording, you should click on the stop video icon on your device. And those are the principal areas that we need to pay attention to. So back to you, Vinnie.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Brendan, for that and for setting up this meeting. I have to refer to a list here because I'm getting old and I forget what I'm doing if I don't look at my little checklist. Now, the next thing, like any AGM, there are a number of set pieces that we have to do. So the first of these, I'll have to call on Audrey, please. Audrey, if you could unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
And you will tell us a list of apologies from people who are not able to come today.
Apologies from Deirdre Bannon, Winston and Ruby Boyce, Andrew Brown, Peter and Sharon Carson, Pamela and Edwin Henderson, David Johnson, Sabine Jones, Maria Kay, Elizabeth Lilly, Olive Martin, Mary McCoy, Peggy Matristra, Anne O'Kane, Kathleen Owens, Hilary Robinson, Irene Ross, Sandra Taylor, Brian and Betty Monaghan. Those are the apologies.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Audrey. And I have to say that many of those sent very nice messages, and they all had very valid reasons for not attending. Now, the next item is to look at the minutes of the last AGM. So, Brendan, if you could flash that up on the screen. The minutes of the last AGM were sent out to you with the documentation for the meeting, and that's also up on the website. But I'll just pop them up on the screen to remind you of that. I'm not sure if you were there or not, but the last AGM took place on the, I'm getting a lot of echo, Brendan.
Sorry, I'm not sure why you should be getting echo if everyone's muted. There's somebody called Fire is not muted. So, okay, try now, Vinnie.
Try again. Okay, it took place on Thursday, the 25th of April, 2019. And I'm not going to read the minutes because you have all had a chance to read them, but I'll just pick out some of the highlights. The highlight for me personally was that I was having my operation to have a hip replacement, and Ken Canavan, who was vice chair at the time, very kindly took over the meeting and ran it in my absence. It took the normal format, and Ken reported on the activities of the previous year and some of the highlights of the previous year. The previous year, number 4, the treasurer left us in mid-year. Helen Jacobs and Brian Peoples took over, and Brian gave his report. And number 5 and 6, we approved the accounts and appointed an examiner. And number 7, we had an election of the new committee, and then we had no any other business, but Ken made a few announcements. And there's a list there of the committee that was elected at the 2019 AGM. Now, I have to make a slight amendment to the minutes. Under item 6, it says appointment of examiner of accounts, Moore Stevens. But in fact, our examiner is Dr. Rosemary Peters Gallagher, who works in Moore Stevens, but it's not officially Moore Stevens. She does this for us pro bono, and we're very grateful to her for doing it. So I think Audrey has agreed to amend the minutes to reflect that the examiner of accounts is Dr. Rosemary Peters Gallagher at Moore Stevens. So we might take those down, please. And at this point, are there any comments on the minutes of the last AGM in 2019? If you can remember that far back. Are there any comments in the minutes, Eric or Nigel? No. So there are no comments. So now I will ask to have them proposed and seconded. And can I call on Nigel, please? This is not, normally somebody would put up their hands, but that's not easy on Zoom. So I'm going to call for Nigel to propose that we accept the minutes. That you're doing that, Nigel?
Yes, I propose that we accept.
You were there? Yeah, okay. And to second the minutes, I'm going to call on Keith. Are you there, Keith?
Yes, I am. I second the minutes.
Thank you, Keith. So we'll those minutes are now official minutes and they will go into the record. Now, the next item on the agenda, item 3, is the Chair and Trustees report. And again, I sent this out to you, so you had a chance to read it, and I hope you've read it and memorized it. I'm not going to give you a little test or anything, but I will summarize it in a PowerPoint presentation. So Brendan, you have enabled me to share my screen?
I have indeed, if you want to try it now.
Well, I have to open the PowerPoint first. Now, just bear with me, everyone, while I fiddle around with all these buttons that I have to fiddle around with and hope that this works. Am I getting it there? And I'll make it into a full screen. That's coming up.
It is, yes.
Okay. Right, well, you're all very welcome, as I said. So let's take this opportunity to have a look back on the period between 2020, April 20 to April 21. It was an unusual period. We'd call it the year of COVID, I suppose. The committee met as usual during the year, and we're very active. We met every month. The membership changed during the year because some members, we had to meet on Zoom, and some members were not comfortable with Zoom. So we had some resignations for that and for personal reasons, and we co-opted other members into those vacancies. The normal work continued, and some of these highlights were website development, keeping communications going. Communications were very important during that period, and Claire Carter produced her newsletter twice a month, which was very important, keeping us all up to date, and Eric kept the website up to date as best he could. We worked on the Constitution during the year. There is a new draft Constitution for all u3as. So we took that and we studied it and we customized it for Causeway u3a. We had considered bringing it to this AGM because it has to be ratified, but the general feeling was that it was better to wait until we could be together in person to ratify the new Constitution and to tease out in person exactly what it means for all of us. During the year, we improved our financial systems, which Tanya will talk about later. We did a lot of training, particularly training on the technologies that we needed to survive COVID, training in Zoom, training in Bridge-based online, most important. And during the period, there was a multiplication of scams, and we all became quite fearful. So Nigel organized a recent seminar on how to deal with all the scams we might encounter. And then we had a group leaders forum and new members meeting. So I'll just pick out a couple of those to note. I suppose the first job we had to do was to make a COVID stay safe plan. And we worked with some of our members who have a background in healthcare who advised us on this, and it was disseminated to everyone. We looked regularly at our membership. So just to bring you up to date, our current membership is a little over 1,000. But this time last year, we had 1,257. So the membership has gone down. That's largely due to natural wastage, people moving away and not rejoining. Normally, we would have people coming in to replace those, but because of COVID, we didn't have many new members. Registration is currently taking place, and a little reminder, there are 250 people who still have to register. They're included in the 1114. So just to explain that. We do monitor how many of our members use email, and the figure has gone up during lockdown. More and more people have adapted to technology, and we now have 93.5% of our members using email. And for our age group, that is way above the national average. So. We continue to develop the website, and now it should be our first stop if we have a question about anything on u3a. And you'll find in there, look, some of the things here, back issues of the newsletter, there's a notice board of what's going on, there are reference documents for everything, and there's even a week-by-week timetable down there in the bottom right showing what's on that week. When I took the picture, Eric hadn't put in the AGM, so we'll have to have a few words with him there. I suppose it was a year of COVID, but it was also the year of surviving COVID. And one of the features that helped us to survive COVID was the use of Zoom. It was, most of us had never heard of Zoom. We might have heard of Skype if we had relatives in Australia or something we needed to talk to, but Zoom was quite new for most of us. So we had to learn how to use it. And we found it was reasonably easy to use. And with the support of Brendan Mullen, without whom we probably wouldn't be where we are, we have been able to use Zoom. He gave me some figures. In May 2020, we had 20 Zoom meetings involving 191 members. And then he did me a figure in January 2021, we had 68 meetings involving 712 members. So the Zoom has really been a lifesaver for us. Now, Facebook, you love it or you hate it. That's the way the world is divided. But we have now about 300 members using Facebook, and it's very useful for quick communications. But to tell the truth, mostly we use it for fun things like cartoons and jokes. And there are, of those 300, quite a lot of us open it first thing in the morning to have a little chuckle. And you can see some of these jokes here. I like the flower arranging. The thought of a wedding on Zoom. There's a professional footballer getting a vaccine. Sort of silly thing that appeal to us. But we use it for serious purposes like meetings and announcements as well. And our latest addition is thanks to Brendan, who's added for us our own YouTube channel. We're only starting with this, and as Brendan said, he's recording this meeting and putting it there. But he has guides to Zoom and various events from the past recorded and available on our YouTube channel. Now for this part of, I have to keep a little eye on my time, but for this part, I'm just going to show some pictures. We tried our best to keep as many activities going as possible during the lockdown. We couldn't have done that without enthusiastic group leaders who learned the technology and brought their members along and kept them interested. So on the website, there's a page, this is a page from the website showing all the activities that continued to run during lockdown. I even had to, there's me on the right with my doing my kitchen timetable because I might forget to do things. So I had to write them all up and then remember what I was going to go to. I'll just zoom through very quickly now some of the activities that ran successfully during this period, because the AGM is a nice time to look back on these things. These are mainly just photographs, so let's go. In the early days, the first lockdown, we were able to carry on with many of our outdoor activities. We had to do a risk assessment of the venue and a risk assessment for each person. And then we had to implement social distancing, etc. But it was good that we were able to keep these going. And I think in the coming weeks, we're going to be able to resume some of our outdoor activities. Even tennis. And I think tennis may have already resumed. I'm not sure that's 100% right, but tennis is also back on the agenda. The wine tasters couldn't manage without meeting and keeping the wine tasting going. So here we were one of the first to get going on Zoom. Photography was also an early user of Zoom. One of the later users was astronomy, but when they got going, long time scales in astronomy, but when they got going, they're now having monthly meetings with speakers, including some of their own members. Science and Society is a new group, and it has lent itself very well to Zoom, because we normally, rather than getting speakers, we each identify something interesting from that we saw online. For example, the talk here by Jim Al-Khalili on quantum physics, which is very entertaining. And our last one was on the use of stem cells. The monthly quiz has continued. There's a little quiz for you on the right. And that's been very successful on Zoom. And in fact, we have attracted visitors from the UK, from Leyland and from Ayr to join us on our quiz. And Brendan has been invited to make an instructional video, a masterclass for the Third Age Trust on how to run quizzes on Zoom. Anyone know the answer to the quiz? I don't know. It's Wilma, is it?
Wilma, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Music was difficult to keep music going because we weren't allowed to sing. That would be spreading the virus. So, but one group, the ukulele group, managed to keep going, and they worked out a system that was safe and fun in partnership with their tutor at Causeway School of Music. And Tanya kept that going, and I think that was much enjoyed by everyone, and almost all the members adapted to Zoom. Drawing and painting was a little difficult because of the nature of the subject, but in the term past, they found a way of setting up 2 cameras and having a demonstration of how to paint things. And I think that was also very successful. Lorna Tinto and Janet managed to get some funding from a local organization to support the purchase of materials for our artists. Bridge, of course, we couldn't live, some of us, without our bridge. So in desperation, we adopted online bridge, and we learned how to use Bridge Base online. We have some seminars of our own, and we use seminars on YouTube, and we learned how to use online bridge. And we currently have 90 people using online bridge, either for small foursomes or for bigger competitions. And there's a cartoon I couldn't resist. I don't agree with it, but I couldn't resist. And we even had a birthday party on Zoom. We had a venerable member, Donald, who became 80, and we couldn't have a real party for him. So we had a Zoom party. So gardening was another success story. The gardeners took over, and each month a member of the club would give a talk about something. And there's Jerry talked about establishing his beautiful garden. Keith gave us a talk about his garden. Joe gave us a talk about getting rid of moss in your lawn. And Claire talked about her experiences with bonsais. So gardening kept going. Poetry was also very good to run. Not all subjects lend themselves to Zoom, but in poetry, we meet and we each read a poem. And on some occasions, we would have a guest. And this is one of the occasions where we had a guest. Maura came and introduced her new book. There's a little poem by Spike Milligan, which kind of relates to the pandemic. I quite liked it. So it's not all about high-class literature. Then came Christmas, and we were not able, of course, to have our Christmas lunch, which was very much missed. So we put together a Zoom Christmas party, and it went on for 3 hours. And many, many people here joined in and made it very interesting event. Here are some of them. There's Cleona again with a glass of wine. We had a very interesting topic where reminiscences, where in one of these, Yvonne Hamilton had stored photographs of pantos that were done by u3a in the past. And she showed us those photographs, and they were a lot of fun. Maybe you recognize yourself. I don't know if anyone in them is here. And then Mary and some of the people involved in creative writing did readings for us. I loved those photographs of the panto so much, I had to put in a couple more. That's a beautiful fairy. And we even included a karaoke, and that was very enjoyable. And Shirley sang, and the words came up, and you were able to join in the singing. And then we ended with a very nice reflection by John McKegney. So the Christmas party went quite well, and it was as good as we could make considering the circumstances. In the new year, one of the things we tried at the Christmas party was breaking up into small groups who would go off into rooms and just have a chat. So we evolved that a little further in the new year into the virtual cafe. And now we're doing it once a month. And people come along, bring along their coffee, sit at their computer and break down into little tables, we call them tables, and they just have a chat with each other. Might be a table with a topic like sport or pets or making things, or it might be just a general chat. In fact, this is what we're going to do at the end of this meeting for anyone who's interested. This again was picked up by the Third Age Trust as a very innovative activity. And Brendan and myself have made a very nice instructional video for the Third Age Trust, which is going up on their website for all the other u3as in the UK. So we have made our mark. There is one. We even had a dog at the virtual cafe. Someone from the Guide Dogs for Deaf People came along and introduced her support dog to us. When I'm looking at that picture, I see someone there who actually appeared on the video that Brendan and I made for the Trust. And his comment was very insightful. He said that he's learning Zoom because he sees it as the future for older people, that a lot of our medical appointments, talking to our solicitor, all the things we have to do in life are quite likely to take place on Zoom rather than, particularly if we become housebound. So preparing for the future, learning to use Zoom is a skill that will stand us all in good stead. So that was my quick flick through and a little look at the past year. There are a few other points that I made in the annual report that I'll just refer to here. We're not an isolated organization. We're part of the Third Age Trust, and the Third Age Trust has been most supportive during the past few months and has provided information and training on all sorts of things that have enabled us to continue to operate. The Charity Commission, we did submit our report to the Charity Commission last year, even though we didn't have an AGM. The Northern Ireland Regional Executive is the umbrella body for all the 25 u3as in Northern Ireland. And they've been meeting monthly on Zoom so that there's a lot of networking going on between all the u3as in Northern Ireland. And there is some work emerging from that. For example, a project where we might share some activities. For example, languages are often quite small groups and they're operating on Zoom. So if we had French on Zoom here with Paul, we might be able to take in another 5 people from other u3as and they would be able to join that. So we're putting in place a network of learning activities, shared learning activities. We've continued to work with the University of Ulster, who are always very supportive for u3a. The program's called the Age Friendly University, and Helen McQueen is our contact person and has kept us all informed about that. With the support of the Causeway School of Music, we hope to, only one thing has happened, the ukulele, but we hope that there will be lots of things in the future when we recommence. And a new bridge club formed, and some of our members, Brian McDowell and Eric Butterworth, were involved in that. And we were invited as a group to join the Causeway Coast Bridge Club. And that has been very important in enabling us to play duplicate bridge over the summer, over the lockdown. Now, there's been a lot of focus in my talk on technology because we needed technology to survive the year past. But we're very aware that we still have about 7% of our members who are not using email. So we assume they're not using Zoom or other technologies. And we are concerned. There is this concept called the digital divide, whereby people who are not using technology are in danger of not feeling involved in their community anymore. So this is one of the challenges for us as we move out of this period. And We don't want that to happen in u3a. We want to be an organization for everyone. I did a survey with the 7% who are not on Zoom, looking at why they were not joining in, and was there anything we could do to help them. And I found this little picture on the internet. What emerged from our particular group is that it's fear of technology, lack of motivation. Some people just feel, I never used it before and I'm not going to learn now. I'm too old to learn new things. And not many, but a few people, it was economic. It's just quite expensive to put in the broadband and to keep a computer up to date and things like that. So we will look in the year ahead at ways to assist people to make use of technology, because technology is not going to go away even when we resume our activities. I was listening to the news this morning down there at the bottom of the screen, and President Biden addressed Congress yesterday. And I love this phrase from his speech, turning crisis into opportunity. And I think that's probably what we have been trying to do during lockdown. So thank everyone who's helped us to keep going. In the year ahead, we have survived. I hope we're coming out of lockdown and COVID crisis, and that safety and normality will be the order of the day. This is what we'd like to see. This is what we look back on. We look back on Christmas party. We look back on the activity fair in September, getting together to play whist, singing, walking, having holidays together, having meetings together in person. So this is what we hope we have ahead of us. So thank you all for listening. And that's my best effort to summarize the year past. Thank you very much. So I will stop that. I'm sorry if that was longer than you expected, but I hope you found it interesting, and maybe you saw yourself doing something interesting. Okay, now I'll return to my list here. That's agenda item 3, the Chair and Trustees report. Agenda item 4 is the very important Treasurer's report. And now I have to say that I'm delighted that Tanya Woods has taken over as treasurer during this year. It's been a difficult few years because we've had 4 treasurers in 3 years. We had Helen Jacobs, and then Brian Peoples took over, and then Irene took over from Brian, and then Tanya took over halfway through this year. So Tanya, would you please bring us up to date on yours, and maybe Brendan can display that the report was circulated, Tanya's report.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm Tanya Woods, for those who don't know me, and I took over in January this year, not halfway through the year, as Beanie just said. I'd like to thank the predecessors, obviously, for the work they've done, and I'll bring you up to date with what's happened to date now. Now, because we're a registered charity, the Causeway u3a accounts are presented on a receipts and payment basis, which means that all income is recorded when it's received, all expenditure is recorded when it's paid. As opposed to the accounts where you may be more familiar with accounts where if you pay something in advance, you have a prepayment or an accrual. We don't have that. Our accounts have been examined by Dr. Rosemary Peters Gallagher at Moore, and these will be submitted to the Charity Commission as soon as they've been approved. The required Charity Commission accounts format is a very summarised presentation. So what you have on your screen is broken down in categories, which is easier for me to explain to you because the actual Charity Commission one just gives a couple of lines. So the figures shown are exactly the ones that were examined by Rosemary Peters Gallagher, and they're just analysed slightly differently for you to see what's happening. They make more sense, I think, this way. So the report on screen, if you look at the bottom, shows a closing balance of 22,678, which is an increase on our opening balance, which is at the top of 22,559. Now, I don't need to tell you it's been an exceptional year, resulting in postponement and cancellation of most of our usual events. So though we appear to be holding our own financially, we need to maintain our funds to be able to operate normally when we enter the post-COVID world. We will be back to holding meetings, paying speakers, financing new activities. So though you might think we're doing well at the moment, don't take it for granted. And although we had no AGM last year, the accounts and the trustees' report were submitted, as Vini said, to the Charity Commission. They are available on the website, on the Charity Commission's website, and we will put them up on our website so they'll all be visible. There are four main categories of expenditure and income that we have there that you can see. So we're just having a quick look at them. Activity shows a deficit of £4,032, which sounds dreadful. Because we are on a receipts and payment basis, people who pay for their courses in March are classed as paying that money in the previous year. And the following year, the expense comes out when we pay for their rooms, their cost of room hire, tutors, materials, and they're paid much later. So there's always a slight lag. And if I look at last year's accounts, it was about the same last year. It seems to just be a timing issue. Overlap of the year end. In March 2020, there was a deposit of £1,800 paid to Travel Solutions for a holiday, which was subsequently cancelled due to COVID. This amount is an outstanding credit to us and is identified in the Charity Commission report as a note to the accounts. But we cannot show this in any other way, as I say, because we're on a receipts and payments basis. The general activities, general expenses categories there, they were significantly reduced during COVID. No monthly meetings, no new members meetings, group leader meetings, all these things at the Lodge Hotel. There would have been a lot of money spent on those in the region of £2,500 to £3,000. So we haven't spent that this year. Committee expenses, which include room hire, AGM, activity fair, all those sort of things, they were also not, we didn't have to pay out for them. So there was a reduction of £700. The Third Age Trust, again, you can see those are our three major bills really this year, and they have been the Beacon, which is, most of their items are per capita, Beacon, which is our computer system, the magazines, and also membership or the registration with the Third Age Trust. That actually increased this year by £1,300, but again, they take a per capita figure at a date. So even though numbers are falling this year, they're based on a previous figure. Hopefully that will fall slightly next year with our reduced numbers. And our membership receipts, which you can see there, were £13,390. So in total, we were just under £120 better off, in inverted commas. But again, remembering that we didn't have any of our normal expenses. Going forward, we expect our membership subscriptions receipts to be reduced this year, and they are. I mean, that's already being seen. And the Third Age Trust Beacon costs, which are calculated per capita, will reflect this next year, not this year. Hopefully, we'll return to monthly meetings, coffee mornings, activity fairs in the not too distant future. The Third Age Trust has agreed not to increase its registration fee to us. So despite various projected increased running costs, we intend to do likewise and hold the membership fee at £10. In the interest of keeping that membership fee low, we're currently exploring the possibility of claiming gift aid from HMRC. I think that's about it. Any questions?
If you have a question, please put it in the chat and I'll ask Eric and Nigel, Brendan, if anything, any questions. We have Tanya here with us who can answer any questions or attempt, even though she's only been with us since January. No questions appearing.
No questions. There are congratulations to you on your report. So well done.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Tanya. You've made it very clear to us, and I get the feeling we're in very good hands. I know you have done a huge amount of work since January, particularly working with the bank and getting us set up on electronic banking and various things that are happening. And that's a lot of effort.
There is one question coming through for Tanya. Tanya, would it be possible to learn a little more about gift aid is the question.
Oh, yes. Yes. I should have had my little gift aid folder with me. Gift aid is a way of us claiming back tax that has been paid by members, relating to how much they've paid. So if you've paid £10 as your membership fee, we will be able to claim back tax of £2.50 per person if you agree to sign up. It's totally voluntary. If you agree to sign up, you pay nothing. There is no extra to be done. We will be sending out detailed information about this, so anybody interested can sign up. Basically, you say, yes, I am happy for you to claim gift aid. It's the sort of thing it's done by the National Trust. Various charities do it, churches do it. And as long as you are paying more in tax than you are actually paying to us, if you pay more than £10 in tax, we can claim back 25% of your, an extra 25% of your donation. In our case, it's the membership subscription. So anybody who signed up, I was happy to do that, we would be able to claim £2.50. We will be sending out loads of information about this and details and declarations, etc., in the coming year, if everyone's happy to approve it. So that's gift aid, basically.
Thank you very much. And a big thank you to Kate McGurk, who did a lot of the work for us with Tanya on how to set up gift aid. So it's a work in progress. And as Tanya said, we will be in touch with you. Now, returning to the agenda, according to the Constitution, we have to have the Treasurer's report proposed and seconded. So can I call on Paul, please, to propose and Kate to second?
I propose the accounts be accepted.
And
I second that.
And Kate McGurk seconds that. Paul Gervin and Kate McGurk for the minutes.
In that case, Vini, can I say that the accounts will be up on the u3a website and also for public viewing on the Charity Commission's website in the next week or so. So they're all there for inspection.
Okay, thank you, Tanya.
Can I then propose Rosemary Peters-Gallagher?
Well, sorry, can I just say the next item on the agenda is agenda item 5, and we have to, what you're beginning to say, and I cut across you, is propose an examiner of accounts for the coming year. So Tanya, can you propose, please?
I'll happily propose Dr. Rosemary Peters-Gallagher of More NI.
We're very fortunate to have Rosemary. And can I call on Keith to second that, please?
Yes, I second that.
Thank you. So Keith Brown, Tanya, proposed by Tanya. Any problems? You should have put it in chat. We're not getting any problems. We'll take it that is approved then.
Yeah, looks like it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Tanya, for the report and for everything you've done. The next is agenda item 6. And it's customary in our AGM to have had nominations for the new committee and officers and an election. The process was a little different this year because everything was done electronically, but it has worked out extremely well because we have been able to accommodate all the nominees on the new committee. And Joe Austin, one of our most senior members, long serving, has very kindly again looked at the procedure we used, and I'll call on Joe to let us know that he's happy. I hope he's happy with the procedure that we used in getting the nominations and forming a new committee to propose to you. Joe, are you there, Joe?
Yes, I hope so.
Can we spotlight Joe? There you are. Hello, Joe.
First of all, I would like to say how impressed I was with the way in which the presentation up to date has been made. It brings me back to the early days of u3a, when people like Gordon Ward and myself and others was teaching people how to use computers. And now we're on the screens on with Zoom. Right, back to business. As requested, I examined all the documentation and procedures that had been used to elect the officers for 2021. And I confirm that they have been made as per our constitution. So all those people that have been nominated for the positions is correct. There was. Oops.
We're losing your sound. Yes, Joe. Just a moment.
Sorry?
Can you repeat that sentence? We lost you.
Yes. All the members that have put the name forward has been elected unopposed. So we don't have to have any election for each member.
Okay.
So I would now declare that the seats are all vacant in the old committee, and would ask Vinnie to take the chair to elect the new committees, both officers and members.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. And I'll just hold up this document, which has Joe's signature. Oh, and it shows that Joe has very kindly checked the process, and we're very grateful to you for that, Joe. Oh, Brendan has just popped it up there. So that is, procedurally, we're happy with it. Now, we still, although we don't need to elect individuals, just for those present, we will pop up the list, and we will take the opportunity to use a little gadget in Zoom called a poll, where you, as members attending this meeting, can press a button and say that you are happy with the list that we have proposed. So, Brendan, can you put up the list, please?
The first one is the election of officers. So that should be up there at the moment. And folks, if you would select either I agree or I disagree to that and hit enter. Yeah, there we go.
Can I just make, while that's happening, that the chairperson, my term of office was up last year, but I stayed on like several other committee members because it was a time of crisis and it was not a good time to bring in new committee. But I am stepping down now. We have a new volunteer as chairperson, and that person is Barbara Foster. Barbara, I think, is here with us somewhere. But I have agreed to stay on in a caretaker role for a few months until Barbara becomes familiar. Barbara is a fairly new person in our u3a. So we will work closely together over the next few months to ensure a smooth transition. So that's what caretaker means. I won't be laying out the furniture or ensuring everything is clean and tidy. Yeah. So Brendan, has that worked?
As we have had 100% of the people who have voted so far agree. There are no one disagrees. People are still voting, but I think we've got, about 90% of the people attending.
Oh, okay.
So I think if we end that,
yes.
and I've made
the next one, please, Brendan.
Yeah. Okay, and
That's our officers now confirmed.
Okay, and now the next one is the continuing committee. So I'm going to launch this one. If people again could vote, and perhaps Vinnie, you would explain.
Yes, these are members. Some of these members came on during the year to replace members who had stood down. So they weren't formally ratified at that time at an AGM. Some of them have little asterisks. And this is because the current constitution allows a certain number of members, but it has the flexibility to include additional members who have particular expertise or that we agree to co-opt. And these members have asterisks. It's not important, it's technicality. But we needed the bigger committee. The new constitution will allow for a bigger committee because we are one of the biggest u3as in Northern Ireland, and we do need to share out the work. We need around 15 or 16 members. So you had the opportunity to tell us that you were happy with that group, and then we'll put up the new members who've not yet joined us in the next group.
So again, nearly 90% of the members attending have voted, and we have 99% agreeing.
Okay.
And I suspect somebody hit the wrong button.
Hit the wrong button. Anyone wants to unmute and shout out if they have a problem with anybody? I hope not.
Okay.
If they have a problem, they'll get nominated to join the committee themselves.
And finally, then, the third of the three votes for the new nominees.
Can't vote on my own computer, it's gone off. So I'm agreeing with Paul, but it'll not come through as a separate vote. It's Karen.
Okay,
that's okay, Karen. Thank you very much. So we have 4 new members: David Eastwood, Rosalind Pritchard, Barbara Foster, and Vinnie Robinson. So they will join the committee and be of great benefit to us, I'm sure.
People are getting used to this because the votes are flying and everyone is agreeing.
Great. So we now have a committee. So I declare the list that we sent out and that Joe has approved as the elected committee and officers for the coming year. So I'm going to move on. This is taking, I thought, 30 minutes. Time management, I think, was never my strong point. We're going on a little longer than I expected. Agenda item 9, the members who resigned either now or during the past year, I'm going to call on Stuart Pollard to formally thank those people for their service. Are you here, Stuart?
Yes, can you hear me?
Can we highlight Stuart, please?
If I can find Stuart, where are you, Stuart? Oh, there you are. Right, Stuart, sorry about that. There we go.
There we
Right, thank you. As some of you will know, I've been a past chairman of Causeway u3a. I was the regional trustee for Northern Ireland on the board of the Third Age Trust, and I'm currently vice chair of the NIREC Regional Committee that Vinnie mentioned earlier. So I have quite a bit of experience of seeing how u3a committees work, and I think we should all consider ourselves very fortunate that we have had such a professional committee, especially over the last year. And if we look at the quality of the 2 presentations we've had, I think that is a great tribute to the committee. So my privilege now really is to say a thank you to the outgoing committee members. And if you'll remember that in the year 2019-20, 4 people stepped down. That was Irene Burke, who did a good job for time as a treasurer, Eamon Brawley on the committee, Ken Canavan, and David Johnson. Ken and Irene had maybe more public roles, and I'm sure we all appreciate Ken's role as vice chair and in organising the many very enjoyable day trips. Eamon and David worked more behind the scenes. Moving on to 2021, we're losing three very experienced members. Keith Brown has also been chair, and I know from personal experience has brought good discipline into all the meetings. Claire Carter, you already mentioned the sterling work she's done on newsletters and the Constitution, the real fun part of a committee member's job. And Audrey Henderson, quietly working behind the scenes in the very important role of secretary. So, although she's not formally leaving, I think it's appropriate that I do include Vinnie in this vote of thanks. As she said, she's spent an extra year in the role because of COVID, and she's now doing a little extra caretaking to ensure a smooth transition to Barbara. Vinnie has been a very hands-on chairman. I think the PowerPoint presentation today just really illustrates that. And she's also been very active in publicising Causeway in the wider u3a. She's involved other u3as, you've heard a couple of that. We've got the Facebook page. She's very active on the Trust's Keeping in Touch website. And I think it's a great compliment that we've been selected to do quite important work on behalf of the Trust. Vinnie was perhaps intending to use this later, but I'll bring it in now, steal her thunder a little. I'd like to quote from one of the members' letters of apology. Quote, "I would like to take this opportunity of thanking you for the outstanding way you have kept us all in touch and indeed kept u3a going." Somebody has just taken away my screen. Indeed kept u3a going during this past year of COVID restrictions. I think all members owe a debt of gratitude to you and all who have continued to work on our behalf during these past difficult months. I couldn't have put it any better. So on behalf of you all, I would like to propose a formal vote of thanks, specifically to those members who are leaving or almost leaving the committee. As earlier, I've already arranged a seconder, so I'll now ask Cleona to second the motion, if she's sober enough after all those pictures we saw.
I'm only on the white wine at this stage. Thank you. It's my pleasure to second this motion and also to say sometime or other, Brendan, we will get some kind of translation for this Scottish accent. COVID-19 is now Coburg, which is a suburb of Melbourne. And I think Keith is probably a Keystone person, and that's probably true. But it is my pleasure to second this proposal.
Thank you very much, Stuart and Cleona, for that recognition for the past committee members. And it's been my pleasure to work with all of them, and I shall miss them. Okay, returning to the agenda, item 10. It is important that the AGM, that members have the opportunity to put motions that might affect all the members, big things. And I did request those, but no one has forwarded anything that they wanted to put to the meeting. So we have no motions. Agenda item 11, we provided an opportunity for announcements, prepared announcements, and in a few minutes, we will go through the comments in the chat. And if there's anything there that needs to be highlighted, we'll do that. But first we'll have an announcement. Our new committee, one of our new committee members, Rosalind Pritchard, has also agreed to take over the running of the international holiday from our good friend and colleague who passed away, Mike Jones. So Rosalind just wants to say a few words about the holiday and her thinking, and a few words about Mike. So okay. Rosalind, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Now I'm just going to screen share because I've got a short presentation for you. I've got up here host disabled participant screen sharing.
Apologies, Rosalind, try it again.
May I share my screen? Try it again. Okay, so there, here, and here. Okay. So first of all, I would like to pay a very warm tribute to Mike Jones. And I have personally been on many of the trips that he ran. We did Sicily, Rome, Pompeii, Dresden and Meissen, and Croatia, and Prague, Vienna, and Bohemia. And I would like to commiserate with his widow, Sabina Jones, but she is very pleased to hear that Michael's legacy will be carried on. So that is the first thing that I would like to say. Now, let me just see here. I need to scroll, and I do that laterally here. So, as you know, I am Rosalind Pritchard, and I hope to take over as the travel coordinator for the Causeway branch of the u3a, and I have put up my email there. And I would like to tell you a little bit about our relationship with Riviera Travel. So Riviera Travel has often done specially organized or bespoke tours for us. And usually these have the feature that they depart directly from Belfast or from Dublin to our destination. And that, of course, is very user-friendly because it means that we don't have to stop over at London or wherever. There is an advisor, I have a special advisor now in Riviera who deals with tours, and she has said that advertised tours, which she calls brochure tours, can be joined by u3a members. That goes almost without saying. There is a 10% reduction, but I would like to explain that the Central Third Age Trust has informed us that that 10% reduction is not to be given to us personally, but has to be donated to the association funds. So we didn't always realize that that was the case, but it is the case. Now, Mike had organized a special trip to cover both North and South Cyprus. And this would have been something that would have transcended what Riviera offers in its brochure at the present time, which is just North Cyprus. That would be a terrific itinerary, but maybe in the present climate of uncertainty, perhaps it's a little ambitious for us just at the moment. So I'm going to suggest something else. What about Riviera, Nice, in the south of France? It is the third largest city in France. It's closer, only 2.5 hours flight, and it's probably less demanding than Cyprus, which would be over 5 hours of a flight. So this could be organized for as a special trip, not on the brochure, and some focus on art and architecture. It would include a visit to Monaco, a visit to Menton, and to do this, we would need between 30 and 35 participants, and that would enable Riviera to mount a special tour just for us. We could organize one in the autumn. There are direct flights from EasyJet to Nice, and I'm thinking of September or October. And we would, of course, have regard to safety if the COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted both here and in our target destinations. If we don't get 30 participants, the price will go up somewhat. As I've told you, the flight time is short. I have looked up the schedule from Belfast International to Nice. It does arrive late at 11:15, but that's continental time, so it would only be 10:15 our time, and the transport time from Nice airport to the center of the city is just half an hour. So if you could bear a slightly late night on the time of arrival, I think we could make a slightly later start the next morning, and then there's a very comfortable journey home, which leaves at about 5 o'clock or just before 6 o'clock. So Riviera has run a version of this trip already, and this was for students of fine art. I wouldn't think of making it all focus on fine art, but that trip was notably successful. So I would like to propose to you that we could at least consider Nice And we might also put out a poll to see whether you might be interested in Cyprus, possibly for 2022. So to conclude, here is a montage of pictures of Nice, which is one of the great cities of France. So thank you, Brendan and Veni. And that concludes what I have to say. I don't know whether anyone has got any questions.
Rosalind,
thank you for listening.
Thank you, Rosalind. Would you like me to publish the poll?
Why not?
Yeah, okay.
I think this is just to give Rosalind a rough idea.
Yeah.
Would anyone, you might not be a regular going on these holidays, but if this were proposed to you, might you be interested? It's time to dream of the future.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 30%.
Nobody interested?
Yeah, we're getting interest.
I'm interested. I'll vote.
Yes, I'm interested. I'll come with you.
Thanks, Veni.
So we have 20 so far out of 80.
We need to take Paul and Alan to help us with the French, although it's not a problem for you. It might be a problem for me. So we brush up on our French and then go. So how do we do, Brendan?
So far, people are still voting. We have 23 who are interested. Only 62 people have voted.
Okay, well, that's not unexpected. This will be followed up later by more detailed information, which Rosalind will send out. We put it into a full proposal and you can say yay or nay. There's still uncertainty about ability to travel, what's happening in France as well as what's happening here. So we'll have to look at that. So thank you very much, Rosalind, for that. And you kept it nice and short, like I asked you. I wish I'd kept my own as short. Well done, Rosalind.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you on the committee.
Thank you.
Right, so where are we now? Let me look at my list. Were there any comments, Eric and Nigel, that we need to address from the floor? You know, suggestions, ideas, complaints?
There are no suggestions, but there are many thanks to all of the speakers, yourself, Rosalind, Stuart, and so on, and to the committee for the work it has done.
We will take a copy of the chat and peruse it at our leisure. And we're very grateful for all the nice comments. So if you want to add any more nice comments, you still have time. Okay. And we will read them all and take them into account. I think now we've run over our time a long way. Am I all right, Brendan? I was getting
go ahead.
No. So if there's no other business to be dealt with, I will formally close the meeting. And I suppose I hope that this meeting has given you the information you wanted, reflected and recognized the achievements of the past year, which were quite difficult. I hope we have ensured that u3a is in good hands for the year ahead by electing such a talented committee. A big thank you to everyone who helped today and played a part in it. I suppose I just have to highlight one person without whom I couldn't have managed the year past, and that's Brendan. So a really big thanks from me to Brendan, and I think from everyone to Brendan, who has led us through all the technology that we needed to survive. It's been a pleasure to work with the committees that I've worked with and with all the group leaders. Group leaders are, as they say, the lifeblood of u3a. They keep those groups running week in, week out, and we're looking forward to that. It's been my privilege in the last 3 years to be your chairperson. Eric and I came to Coleraine in 2015, knowing nobody, except for my sister, which was the reason we came. But now we know lots of people, made firm friendships, and have a very full and rewarding life. I suppose getting involved in u3a by doing things for u3a. It is a mutual aid group, and the more you do, the more rewards you get. So I would encourage everyone to volunteer for something according to your talents and abilities and the time you have available. I'm looking forward to working with Barbara Foster in the months ahead and assisting in every way I can in the handover. Is there anything else? Again, I have to have a wee card these days because I forget what I need to say. I think we have covered everything. Being engaged in u3a is also a way of living longer. They say that members, older people who are involved in doing things for other people live longer and happier lives. So please get involved. I was so taken by that quote from President Joe Biden that I'm going to say it again, that at this point, we need to turn crisis into opportunity. Turn crisis into opportunity. We'll look ahead, we'll start getting new things going, the outdoor activities, some of the indoor meetings, some of the groups who've not been able to meet on Zoom, and gradually normality will be resumed. And thanks to Rosalind for ending on such a positive note where we're starting to think about holidays. I forgot to say when you were talking about holidays that Ken Canavan has also very kindly agreed to continue to assist with an Irish holiday each year and with outings. And I'm very grateful to Ken. He made an amazing contribution through those and other things that he has done. So looking forward to working with Ken and those things. So thank you all again. And at this point, I had hoped to finish about half an hour ago, but I didn't. Brendan had a plan that we could have a virtual cafe if anyone is interested. Brendan, do you want to say something?
Well, yes, we will. I'll just find myself here. Yes, we're going to have our virtual cafe later. I think it's possibly time to have a comfort break for about 10 minutes. I think if you want to just continue your connection here, and in 10 minutes time, come back to us after your comfort break, and we will then enter into the virtual cafe. We have breakout rooms or tables where we have a variety of topics and subjects. It's very much a social occasion. It's very much just to meet people, to have a chat. You can meet with friends, or you can just go into a random room and meet up with people to talk on a subject that interests you. So if I could suggest that at 12 o'clock noon, you come back in and we'll start on the virtual cafe. Thank you.
You can just wander off, leave your computer running. And if you still have some energy and you'd like to meet some people, come back and join Brendan and I at 12 o'clock. And we'll see how it goes. And we'll be able to chat informally and meet friends at coffee tables. Bring the coffee with you. Thank you very much. And thank you again, Brendan.
See you later, folks.
Yeah. This is optional if you want to do
it.
Thank you, Vinny.
You're welcome. Oh, see, John stayed there with you, Daphne.
Yes, he did. Well done, Vinny.
Bye-bye, honey. Bye.
Bye, Vinny. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brendan.
Oh, our fairy. I'm glad the fairy was here.
Oh, I could kill you for that.
Oh, you won't be allowed. Socially distanced, Gillian.
You're quite safe. Okay, thanks a lot.
Right. Thank you, Brendan, as usual.
Indeed, Daphne.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you again.
Yep. Yes. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Vinny and Brendan. It was great.
So,
I hope you enjoyed it.
Hello. Yeah.
Leslie, you want to speak?
I'll get a coffee. Do you want one?
Okay, please.
No. Still muted, Leslie.
There I am.
There we
Okay.
go.
Okay. I'm unmuted now.
You are.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to say, it's most impressive, all the work that you've all done and done it so willingly, and it's made a huge difference to us all. And thank you very much indeed.
Oh, Leslie, that's lovely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I hope you're keeping well and you're
Yes,
back
I
on your
am.
feet
Yes,
again.